the first show I ever saw of yours was with a building contractor who said he ran across anti-gravity technology in a military facility.
Do I think anti-gravitic propulsion systems are real?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
do you think there are significant technologies, next generation energy, anti-gravity, that the U.S. government
100%. I mean, yes, I do. I think that all this alien extraterrestrial shit, I mean, it's fun to dig down there, but I mean, I think it's a big distraction. I don't know if it's meant to be some type of a controlled op, but I think it is. I think all this stuff is spiritual. That's what I think.
Of course it is.
I think all this stuff is spiritual. All these things that people are seeing and stuff. I think there's a spirituality component to it. Now
that these are angels and demons, or
yeah,
what?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And where was I going with this? And
so to his
anti-gravitic propulsion systems. I mean, yeah, I would hope that we have shit that is next generation stuff that's not, the same shit we've been using since World War II.
Yeah, so the only real technological advances in 80 years are like the iPhone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, we have advances. Like, we just interviewed this guy, Steve Quast. And do you know Steve Quast?
No.
Holy shit. Fascinating guy. But he talks about next generation energy and the fight that the utilities companies don't want us to have new energy. But anyways, what this guy does is he has a company called Space Built, I believe. And so he has basically created a logistics company where instead of launching one satellite up, he can, which he says that's extremely expensive, and sometimes they break and they're fragile, and they have to make the satellites bulletproof, which is a ton of weight because they have to be able to, withstand, going through the atmosphere. And so what he's done is he is building a logistics company where they don't have to make the satellites bulletproof. You can make them 10 times bigger than the satellites that we have, and you launch them up in sections and pack them safely so that they can make the trip without having all that extra weight to be bulletproof. And then his company would actually assemble those through laser robotics in space. And so what he says is possible is, and I believe him. I mean, he's got the right background to be talking about this stuff. And so what he says we can do, and we already have the technology, is basically they would put these ginormous satellites up into orbit, and they would be solar. So it would actually be a reliable, renewable energy source because there's no clouds, there's no atmosphere, there's no air particles getting in the way to collect that radiation from the sun. It would convert it from solar into some type of a radio wave, and you could beam it down onto the Earth to I can't remember what we called it, but it sounded like an antenna. So you put this antenna that receives
as an energy collector,
and then it would pump it back into the grid.
Yeah.
And I was just, but
so like a solar farm in space.
Yes. And I mean, he had talked about that, and it's just like, man, like what? This could be the answer. I mean, we could make Earth. I mean, I think Elon said, right, we could make Earth into a park. Was that him? But I mean, you could take out all the eyesores, all the huge solar farms that you see all over the country, the wind, the oil and gas, like it could all be gone, and you could do it this way. And
would you get green energy tax credits for it?
I don't know.
I think that's kind of the goal here. I don't think it's actually to power civilization or keep the earth clean. I think it's the tax credits drive all this stuff. It's just greed. Data hawks are collecting your information anytime you visit a website. Every time you go online, every time you create an account, you make an online purchase, your data is out there and you have no control over who sees it or what they do with it. So it's only a matter of time until somebody tries to exploit these facts that you have no privacy at all. use your information to steal your identity and maybe bankrupt you. It happens all the time. It's happened to friends of ours, kids, and that's why we use Identity Guard. Identity Guard helps by giving you control. It monitors your most sensitive information for any signs of suspicious activity. If someone's trying to steal your identity, you know right away, often before real damage can be done, before you're on the hook for the money. So if in fact your identity is stolen, the expert team will work directly with banks, credit card bureaus, other institutions to fix the problem for you, so it's not the disaster you fear it is. While they handle the cleanup, you're backed by up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, which is a huge relief. Imagine waking up and finding out that someone in a foreign country is using your name and social security number to steal money from you. It happens all the time. So the team there is available 24/7 if you ever need help. There are no bots, there are no call centers offshore. It's based in the United States. They know exactly what you need. Somebody becomes a victim of identity theft about every 6 seconds, constantly. So don't let the next one be you. Visit identityguard.com/Tucker for 30 days free, plus a special discount if you want more. Sign up before this happens to you. identityguard.com/Tucker. It's the ugliest kind of greed.
Yeah. But I mean, so anyways, that's next generation power right there. And they said that China's building a nuclear power plant in space, and they're mining helium-3 off the backside of the moon. And sounds like, I'm not terribly familiar with helium-3, but it sounds like that is that's also next generation power that can cool data centers, AI stuff, and it would really take us to the next level of energy. But then he goes on to talk about how we're falling behind from China with energy production.
Well, sure.
So
everyone's a marketing major.
I think it's here. I think it's legitimately at our fingertips.
So this, Al, come here. Sorry about that. So this story and the weird way that it happened, you get the manifesto from the guy who kills himself in the Cybertruck. All these other people know that you're about to do an interview on it. Were you worried you were going to get hurt in that moment?
I don't know if it's hurt. I don't really care about me, but I worry about my family.
Oh, of course.
And so, it's always an afterthought. The only one that I've done that I'm like, oof, I don't know if I should be doing this before was the Romania one that I was telling you about the other day. And
what was the Romania interview?
The Georgescu interview where they yanked him out of the election. But it's always an afterthought, after the interview. I'm like, oh, shit. I don't know if we should throw this one out. And because, the FBI would have never come out and given any validity to the email, to the manifesto. And I know that the interview, because it got 5 million views and I don't know how many listens in just, a couple of days. And so, when I see that kind of traction on something, I'm like, oh shit, I really kicked over a big rock here. I wonder what the repercussions of this are going to be.
If you're traveling to Romania to interview a candidate who's been knocked out of the race by NATO, all of a sudden you're no longer really a podcaster. You're like a player in global politics.
I just want to be a podcaster.
But I mean,
I'm only feeding my own curiosity.
For sure. But the second you start, tampering with the way things are, then you become a problem and therefore fair game, no?
Yeah, I mean, we had this discussion last night. I didn't sleep a fucking wink. I was like...
Well, I think the big lie is...
I was like, Jeremy, I think Tucker's trying to tell me maybe I need to simmer down or something.
I don't think so at all. I just think you said last night, I'm just a podcaster. And I was like, I'm familiar with that way of thinking, but if you just take 3 steps back and, if you're exposing things that are, important things, big things, like who gets to run the world and, who's getting the money, I think you're still a podcaster, but you're also something else, right?
Yeah, I guess somewhat of a disruptor, but you know, I just when I do it, I lean into. I lean into God, and I really just consider myself kind of a conduit. Not kind of a conduit. I consider myself a conduit.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.